There are few names in history that echo as powerfully as Napoleon Bonaparte. His story isn't just about battles and empires, it's about ambition, brilliance, pride, and the human cost of chasing greatness. To understand Napoleon, you have to understand the world he was born into, a Europe torn by revolutions, desperate for order, and ripe for someone bold enough to take it. Napoleon was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, a rugged land with proud people. He wasn't born into privilege. His family was minor nobility but far from wealthy. From an early age, he showed an unusual hunger for learning, for power, for something more than the small life he was born into. By the time the French Revolution erupted in 1789, Napoleon was a young artillery officer with sharp eyes and sharper ambitions. France was in chaos. Kings had fallen, mobs ruled the streets, and the old world was crumbling. For someone like Napoleon, this chaos wasn't frightening. It was opportunity. His first taste of fame came during the siege of Toulon in 1793. While others hesitated, Napoleon acted with precision and daring, driving the British out of the city. At just 24, he was promoted to brigadier general. It was here that people first began to whisper his name, the boy from Corsica who could think like a master and fight like a lion. But Napoleon's true rise began in Italy. Sent to lead the army of Italy in 1796, he transformed a ragged, demoralized force into a sharp, disciplined machine. His campaigns there were nothing short of brilliant, rapid movements, unexpected strikes, and victories that stunned Europe. Italy was his stage, and he performed like a genius. By 1799, France was exhausted from revolution, from wars, from political instability. Napoleon saw his moment. In a swift coup d'etat, he seized power, becoming first consul. It was the beginning of something extraordinary. The boy from Corsica was now the man who ruled France. As first consul and later emperor, Napoleon reshaped France. He reformed education, law, and administration. The Napoleonic Code, still influential today, brought clarity and order to French law. People admired him not just as a general, but as a builder, someone who gave France stability after years of chaos. But ambition is a dangerous fire. Napoleon wasn't content with France alone. He wanted an empire that would stretch across Europe. And so, the wars began. Austerlitz in 1805 was his masterpiece, a victory so perfect it's still studied in military academies today. Europe trembled at his name. Yet, for every rise, there is a turning point. For Napoleon, it began with hubris, the belief that he could bend nations to his will forever. The disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812 was the beginning of the end. His army, once unstoppable, was swallowed by the Russian winter and the brutality of war. By 1814, the tide had turned. Europe united against him, weary of his endless wars. Paris fell. Napoleon, the once invincible emperor, was exiled to the island of Elba. But if history teaches us anything, it's that Napoleon was not a man to be easily defeated. In 1815, he escaped Elba and returned to France. The people cheered. Soldiers rallied to him. In a matter of weeks, he was emperor again. This brief, dramatic period is what we call the 100 Days, a final gamble for glory. But destiny caught up with him at the Battle of Waterloo. Facing the combined forces of Britain and Prussia, Napoleon fought fiercely but was overwhelmed. His defeat at Waterloo wasn't just a military loss. It was the shattering of a dream that had burned for decades. After Waterloo, there was no second comeback. He was exiled to St. Helena, a remote island in the South Atlantic. Here, the man who once commanded empires spent his final years in isolation, writing his memories, reflecting on his triumphs and his failures. He died in 1821, far from the Europe he had once dominated. The story of Napoleon is more than a history lesson. It's about human ambition, its brilliance, and its danger. He rose because he believed in his own vision, and he fell because he couldn't see where that vision turned into overreach. His rise was meteoric, his fall inevitable. So, what was this incident like? It was the story of a man who dared to believe he could bend history to his will, and for a time, he did. But time humbles even the greatest. Napoleon's life is a reminder that genius and hubris often walk hand in hand, and that every empire, no matter how mighty, must eventually face its sunset.